I want y'all to tell me if y'all heard about this one. Congressional Black Caucus to support spying powers used on BLM activists. The Congressional Black Caucus will support the clean reauthorization of the FISA Section 702, a warranty surveillance authority that has been used to spy on African Americans. It goes on to say this week, the Congressional Black Caucus will quietly support an effort to reauthorize surveillance power that were used to spy on Black Lives Matter activists in 2020. The prospect has learned, according to multiple congressional sources who spoke on the condition of anonymity, CBC support for the reauthorization of Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act comes after, who is this? Representative Gregory Meeks he's out of New York, the Democrat, the powerful ranking member of the House Committee on Foreign Affairs, successfully lobbied CBC leadership to stand down on reforming the vast intelligence authority. It goes on to say system grants to U.S. intelligence agencies the authority to collect communications on foreign intelligence targets abroad. In practice, however, it has allowed the agencies to amass troves of data on American citizens. So this is the kind of stuff we up against. That's why I continuously say that there's no Democrat, Republican. They in the bed together, literally. You see it. Hey, tell me what you think. Basically, this is saying that we don't have a way out, basically. There's no end to this. They all supported by the same people, and they all doing the same bidding, period. I want y'all to tell me if y'all heard about this one. Congressional Black Caucus to support spying powers used on BLM. The FBI ruthlessly and persistently surveilled Dr. King and his family, even in their own home and without any kind of warrant. It is only thanks to the work of journalists and government investigators of the 60s and the 70s that we know that the FBI weaponized its COINTELPRO program to spy on, to harass, and to intimidate Dr. King and many other civil rights leaders and figures. We saw these tactics used against Black Lives Matter protesters. We saw them used against student protesters supporting a ceasefire in Gaza. Now we're seeing it used against anti-ICE protesters. The Fourth Amendment protects people in this country from unreasonable searches and seizures. Yet for decades, the federal government seems to throw that right out of the window when it's Black or as brown people who exercise their First Amendment rights to free speech or peaceable assembly. Time and time again, these movements are portrayed as terrorists or violent, rioters, or simply anti or un-American, all to give the federal government the excuse that their unlawful actions are in the interests of national security. So the federal government can't be allowed to violate people's rights under the cover of darkness. We wouldn't even know about the federal government's actions against Dr. King or the COINTELPRO operation if it wasn't for strong oversight. So we need to continue this important oversight work, which is why today, Rep. Jonathan Jackson and I are introducing the COINTELPRO Full Disclosure Act. This bill will require the public disclosure of all COINTELPRO records and establish a review board to ensure compliance. So, Madam Chair, I invite you and, of course, the rest of our colleagues to join me in this effort. And I think in an attempt to ensure that there is no government overreach on private citizens, I would love if we could have your support for that.
I'll take a look at it. I don't have any objections.
Tonight, the leader of California's Reparations Task Force is speaking out after state lawmakers blocked two reparations-related proposals. The California Legislative Black Caucus decided to withhold those bills from moving forward. That led to a big protest at the Capitol over the weekend, as you see here. That's what the video is that you're watching right now. KCRA 3 Capitol correspondent Ashley Zavala spoke with the reparations leader.
Yeah, so Ashley, what does she have to say about how this whole session ended over the weekend?
Golston and Lisa Camila Moore was the chairwoman of California's historic Reparations Task Force. That group wrapped up its work last year after spending years studying the effects of slavery, racial discrimination, and its impact on Black Californians. She says she felt betrayed by the Black Caucus after it decided to block two bills she says were fundamental for reparations. Emotions still high after this scene at the state capitol over the weekend.
It's Black people stopping all people from getting their reparations.
Reparations supporters frustrated by the Legislative Black Caucus's last-minute decision to block votes in the Assembly on proposals that would establish a state agency and state fund for reparations. The Black Caucus divided, with some saying they were afraid of the governor's veto, while the caucus leader, Assemblymember Lori Wilson, claimed the bills did not have the votes. Tonight, the leader of California's Reparations Task Force is speaking out after state lawmakers blocked two reparations-related proposals. The California Legislative Black Caucus decided to withhold those bills from moving forward. That led to a big protest at the Capitol over the weekend, as you see here. That's what the video is that you're watching right now. KCRA3 Capitol correspondent Ashley Zavala spoke with the reparations leader.
Yeah, so Ashley, what does she have to say about how this whole session ended over the weekend?
In Golston and Lisa, Camila Moore was the chairwoman of California's historic Reparations Task Force. That group wrapped up its work last year after spending years studying the effects of slavery, racial discrimination, and its impact on Black Californians. She says she felt betrayed by the Black Caucus after it decided to block two bills she says were fundamental for reparations. Emotions still high after this scene at the state capitol over the weekend.
It's Black people stopping all people from getting their reparations.
Reparations supporters, reparations. Emotions still high after this scene at the state capitol over the weekend.
It's Black people stopping all people from getting their reparations.
Witnessing in the state of California is the very essence of political cowardliness in regard to the reparations bill, which should have been signed by the governor, and that now is not just being delayed primarily by the Black Caucus, but put off, postponed with another commission, another investigation. That's the last thing we need. We need action. The governor's too obsessed with his presidential ambitions, and the politicians are too preoccupied with finding some position or status on the Democratic Party plantation. Please, we've had enough of this. Where's your moral consistency? Where's your political courage? That's what we're looking for. That's precisely why our campaign puts reparations at the very center of its concerns about the Black plight and predicament, in addition to the elimination of poverty, the elimination of homelessness and unhousedness, living wage, and on and on and on. Let us continue to fight. Don't get
increasingly obvious that the older members of the Congressional Black Caucus, who are also some of the most powerful members, don't actually care about Black representation within the United States of America.